The Yankees and the Mets split the Subway Series. Trouble in St. Louis, a revival in Oakland, and the Stanley Cup and the NBA trophies go up. Diamond Diehards is on. Joe Rizzo here bringing you baseball along with the dog, Jeff Healy, and the rook, Erin Mulligan. So this is the first time we've tried it like this, Dog, where we have three of us. We've done a 3-person booth before with the venerable Jerry Milani, and sometimes we've had some guests who have basically been like co-hosts to us, like say, I don't know, Jeff Fry or something like that. But this is sort of a first where the rookie from Monmouth sits next to me, and we have the dog in there on Zoom. And one day, hopefully very soon, we'll get all three of us together in the same place at the same time. But for now, you'll just have to believe that we exist like this. We are a split bunch. I got the Yankees shirt on. Dog has the Mets hat, and Erin's all about the Yankees too. So, Dog, we got reinforcements here to go up against you. But the teams do split the Subway Series. It was not the crispest couple of games of baseball, but they both managed wins. So we'll get to that in just a moment. If you are watching us live on Facebook, then we greatly appreciate it. And hopefully Uncle Paul will be there. It's not going to be too long of a show today, which Dog and I always laugh at because every time we say that, it's quick hits, and it's never a quick hit. But we will attempt to do that for you today. And we want you to follow us. You can follow the dog at Jeff Healy 8. That's the number 8 on Twitter. And you can follow Erin at Erin_Mulligan23 on Twitter. And you can follow me, Joe Rizzo, at Diamond Diehards on Twitter. And pretty much everywhere else you're looking to make contact with us, you could do it through just searching for Diamond Diehards or going to diamonddiehards.com. Dog, are you pleased or displeased with the Mets split with the Yankees? Let's start there.
Just supremely grateful that they somehow eked out a win. As I was putting it last night, I was driving the youngest home from a baseball dinner, actually, wrap up of freshman year, and I heard the steal of home, and I'm like, that's it. Off you go. I popped it back on, I don't know, Kenny Chesney or Classic Green Wine, or I don't know what I was on, sometime on Sirius XM, but I couldn't take the pain anymore. So I had to pop off. Metsy showed some heart against a very, very tough Yankee bullpen. A split feels like that was probably the fair sort of outcome. Kind of both teams were kind of going ahead and giving back, going ahead, giving it back. So the series being split 1-1 was probably about the fairest way to kind of have it come on out at the end of the time. As a Met fan, obviously the Scherzer problems continue to confound after getting off to a good start in April. Thank God Verlander showed up. That has been a big issue for the Metsies, and we'll see. I mean, it still seems like it's kind of not their year, but we'll see. There's some got Lucchesi, got Quintana coming back up from the minors, back from injuries. A couple guys who've been outmatched, McGill and so forth. Maybe they eventually start to slide back out of the rotation, and we'll see. I mean, they can hit. They're starting to hit finally. So there's some flashes, but a real reverse of last year, I think, is sort of probably the biggest thing. Like, they just found ways to win games last year, all the time, and basically the complete opposite this year. That unless they've got locked away, and it's not even Diaz, I don't think. It's just all the little things. Even the defense finally got fallen down the last 10, 15 games or so. So we'll see. Buck's got a tough job ahead of him right now. He's been getting some heat himself. I know we'll kind of talk St. Louis here in a little bit, but there was definitely some grumbling, even with Buck and among the Met faithful. But just thrilled. It could have gotten really ugly if the Yanks swept that 2-game series, and the Mets stumble in 1-9 or 1-10 or whatever into into the games this weekend. So we'll see. We're happy. We'll take the one. Let's try and add to it.
And by Mets faithful, you mean the Mets ungrateful, right?
Mets Twitter is a hard place these days.
Yeah, that's not a friendly place.
You can only visit. Don't stay there. a little rough.
Rook, you happy or disappointed with the split by the Yankees? From the Yankees, give us the Yankee standpoint.
I'm very disappointed. I expected it to be, I don't mean to be offensive, but easy. 2 easy wins. But
Man.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I really actually
Odd hitter.
I was rooting for the Mets this year, not permanently, but excited to watch them and excited to see them succeed.
Not you mean not in the series, you mean this season?
Yeah, this season.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh
Yeah. Because I like Buck Showalter. I think he's such a good, well, obviously coach, but he's just so intelligent, so knowledgeable on the game. And I was just really excited to watch him coach the team. And I think despite any struggles that they go through, I think they have real talent on the team. So I was excited for that. But with the Yankees, I think they were making silly mistakes. They were not as offensively strong as they should have been. And especially against Scherzer, who was struggling. Obviously, Scherzer is outstanding, but he had a terrible game, and they should have done much better against him despite that score. I was disappointed how last night ended as well. Also, when they put Ramirez in, I was like, who even is that? Because they never use him. I knew who he was, but I just thought it was a terrible decision. I definitely questioned Boone's decisions and his timing in regards to pitching. But yeah, I was overall disappointed, and and now I'm just wondering who's going to get sent down going forward, because Bader's coming back. Judge will be back soon.
We hope.
Yeah, we hope. But I do think McKinney and Bowers made a lot of difference in these 2 games. They never gave up. So I don't know who they're going to choose to send down. But yeah, I was disappointed. McKinney's
been a guy that dogs liked, right?
Yeah, he's great. Great to come in and kind of give you your spark and stuff like that. So good job by the Yanks, get him in and get him integrated. I would say I think he tends to be the kind of guy that the more he sort of hangs around and sort of people see, people tend to adjust to him a little bit. So if I had to choose, who would kind of go down, I think it's probably would be McKinney. Would be the one that I would go down. But yeah, he's a good spark plug and a good pickup, and a nice bridge to get you back. So those guys are back in the lineup.
Yeah, I don't think he's someone you get nervous about bringing up if someone does go down. But he's definitely, I think he's a really good player. For some reason, Bowers has a little leg up on him. I don't know if it's the major catches he's making in the outfield or the home runs, but I agree. I think it's going to be McKinney.
The Bauer catch was insane. We got a little Twitter. I forget.
The one last night?
Yeah, the one.
Basically did it behind his back.
Yeah, it was
awesome.
They're both tremendous. I think I was seeing one on night before. It was the one the night before. I think second or third inning or so. Mm-hmm. And that was like a crucial time too, because that was like the Mets were kind of hopping, and they were getting out to the jumpstart on Sevy, and he really saved the big. Yeah, that was a big change. Mets wound up attacking a couple anyway, like after. So, but still, that could have been like a blowout inning. And he really saved the bacon on that one.
Dawg, at 11:04 p.m. Eastern time during the second game of the Subway Series, were you looking at Twitter at that time? Help me out.
I was popping back on there, Riz. So actually, I woke up for a little nappy nap after I had a little upset. Took a little nappy nap. Hopped back on. Saw Twitter. I was like, "Oh, very exciting." Went to find the remote. I found the remote, and the ball game was over at that point. But yes, I was about to hop back on at that point.
Well, Dawg, at that time, I tweeted, Nick Ramirez, lefty, right? Who's that? Rookie says, comes in to face left-handed hitting Brandon Nimmo, ... who has been outstanding against left-handed pitchers. and then quickly game over. Why did I tweet that? And then I also posted his platoon splits. So you have the ghost runner on second. It's a tie game because the Yankees don't score. So it doesn't matter if you hit a home run. We don't need a home run to win the game. We do not want, under any circumstances, the ball to be contacted. And if it is, we want, some kind of fly ball, right? Like, we don't want a line drive. We don't want a guy, with a high average coming up, even though everybody throws out batting average. So Brandon Nimmo this season has all 6 of his home runs against, yes, Dawg, right-handed pitchers.
Yeah.
He's batting .260 against righties, which is good, but that gives you like a 1 in 4 chance to get to the next guy, right? With him not winning the game, or probably a little more than that, because you could say, well, if he's .260, there's a chance he could get a single. It might win the game. It might put runners on first and third. But the moment that you bring in a lefty, he's hitting .337. Now you've made it like a 1 in 3 chance that he's going to win. More importantly, Dawg, the slugging of .446 is 7 doubles and a triple. So he's not hitting the ball over the wall against the lefties, but he's hitting the ball obviously pretty hard. If he's getting, 8 extra base hits out of 28 hits. So, a fourth of his hits against lefties are for extra bases. So he's seeing the ball well. He's hitting the ball hard. Like, at what point do we say, so here's what's going to tie everybody up in a knot, right? Boone, the scourge of so many. So if he's an analytics guy, right? Like, what happened to the analytics here? Like, why would you have brought in a lefty? Like, unless, now, to be fair.
What's his splits? Right, the other side.
I don't know, look him up. We'll make the rookie do
Get
it.
on the rookie.
Go Baseball Reference.
This Mets suck.
Are you on the website?
Yeah, go to
sweet.
base. Yeah, go to that one, and then go to splits, and then 2023.
But I've got the time dog here.
You go lefty, right? A little lower. Versus lefties. Look for versus lefties versus righties. Keep going. There, it'll be platoon splits here. Okay, so Nick Ramirez is basically even. There's not an appreciable difference. He's been decent against both, very small sample size. 222 against righties, 235 against lefties. That's batting average. Slugging 333 against righties, 353 against lefties. He's basically the same.
Yeah.
The same. There's no difference, right? So you're not getting an appreciable difference by bringing in the pitcher, except the fact that you're giving a batter probably a much more confident look. Let's say that word, confident look, because Nimmo has hit lefty so well this year. So from that standpoint, where the rubber doesn't meet the road for me is, where are the analytics? Like, we know that we criticize Boone for just listening to the nerds, listening to the geeks, whatever. How does somebody not see this on their spreadsheet? Did Boone for once go old school and say, I don't care, I'm bringing in my lefty to face the lefty? Like, somebody explain to me what happened. Rookie? God.
I know what you're thinking. I mean, the Yankees are one of the top teams that uses analytics, that depend on them, that praise them. I don't get it. I don't understand. I can't comprehend it, because that's all he does. Is he looks at the stats from past games. He'll look at obviously analytics, but I don't get it. I don't even know how to explain it, because you would expect him to have a better plan overall. And to know, you had to have had somebody on the staff looking at every single Mets batter and knowing this was almost obvious that Nimmo does so well against lefties. I really don't have an explanation.
I'm just leadoff hitter, right?
Yeah,
Literally the first guy you look at, right?
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I know Albert Abreu hasn't been a world beater, but he was
I
dealing.
picked him before.
He was dealing, and like, was there enough of a reason to take him out of the game, just to, like, when you actually make the hit? I know that at that point, the counter argument would be that Ramirez has been a better pitcher than Abreu this year, but Abreu within that time frame, like what you were getting from him that night was the guy with electric stuff that actually was controlling his stuff that night. So why are you going somewhere else, especially when it's an extra inning game? Or now what I maybe would have been fine with is walk Nimmo.
Sure.
Walk him. Why don't we see that more? Like, I think that's almost an automatic when you have an extra inning game in which the home team does, the visiting team does not score in the top of the inning, right? You get to the bottom of the inning, the ghost runner's on second. Unless you're looking down the lineup and you're saying, well, if I walk the first person and then we just get outs, I'm giving that next batter a chance to go, and it's Ohtani or it's Trout or it's Judge or something like that, then I can kind of understand the argument. But or if your pitcher has such awful control that you're like, I don't want to put another guy on base, I'm just going to take my chances. Those are the two cases. All the other cases, why wouldn't you just automatically walk the guy? Like, it's way easier when you only have a threshold of, I give up one run and I lose. Just put the other guy on. It's way easier to get out of a first and second situation, right? You have a great chance then to actually turn a double play. And then if you leave the runner on third, you leave him on third. You could always walk the next guy or the guy after that to get the matchup that you want if you've gotten the double play. Or if you got the strikeout or, a fielder's choice or something where you race the lead runner, you still would have a double play in order with one out. Like, I don't get why it's not just an automatic thing. If it was Dawg, would Buck have walked Nimmo in that spot? What are your thoughts on that?
I think so, especially, I think Lindor was behind him, and he's been hitting way worse than Nimmo. So, Lindor's not a real double play threat or anything, but if I think between the choices, I think you're 100%. If you just got the guy in second, and why not give yourself the easy force? And why not give yourself a chance on that? Just going ahead and pitch into him really doesn't make a ton of sense. It's not like you're trying to prevent the second run, right? All you can do is prevent that first run. So I agree. I wouldn't do it. And actually, just for giggles too, Lindor is better against the lefty too. So if you're set up like, I'm just gonna walk Demo, like, well, you're still screwed up at bringing the lefty in.
Yeah, he
obviously switch hitter, obviously, but
he had a big hit against Cole earlier in the game, where he broke up the no hitter with a rope. I was kind of lamenting during the game where Cole was just like absolutely lights out, right? And he goes through three or four innings without allowing a hit, and like he makes one mistake. It wasn't an egregious mistake, but he left the ball up, and he's against Lindor, who's hitting .215, right? He's not having a great year with the bat. He's driving in a lot of runs, but he's not having a great year with the bat. And it's like you're perfect the whole game. You're just dealing. You have great stuff to begin with. You make one tiny little error, and like the guy just ropes it for a double off the wall. Like baseball is so hard. It's like, do people get it? It's so difficult. Like, just in that moment, I was like, wow, that's like, there's like no margin for error even when you're that good and you have everything going for you. It's like you make one tiny little error and Lindor just smashes that ball off the wall in right center. Anything else on the Subway Series, Dawg?
No, I think we nailed it.
Rookie?
Well, I think what we're talking about, I just don't think Buck makes the same mistakes as Boone. And I don't know if it's because Boone hasn't been in this position.
That's because Boone sucks. Let me say it for all you Yankee fans who want to say the quiet part out loud. He sucks.
I was trying to tread lightly. I try to defend him. He made a video for me for my 21st birthday. And he sent it to me, and it was really nice. But he makes mistakes that cost games in regards to pitching all the time. So the way the Mets walked Giancarlo, that was a smart thing for them to do. And that's exactly what the Yankees should have done. Other than that, I was very excited about IKF stealing home. That was thrilling.
Oh yeah, actually, we didn't talk about that at all.
Because we were talking about IKF last time.
I bet you that's drove me off the radio. But yeah, that was amazing.
I think it was
as a baseball
unexpected.
fan, that was wild. Yeah.
Exactly.
And great timing. It was a perfect timing for it. Like, the lefty with the back to it. It's not focused on, the fun day. They're all teetering at that point, right? A couple errors and stumbling around and stuff like that. It's the perfect time to go out and execute.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
you know
Boone's a
what though?
genius.
There's a fail safe, and I'm surprised. Well, he almost did it, but
He almost drilled. Yeah, exactly. That's
you almost drilled him.
Yeah.
Yeah, the play is to drill the guy.
Yeah.
Because if you hit the batter, the runner has to go back to third because it's a dead ball.
Mm-hmm.
So
Old school.
Yeah, you just wait. You're like, oh, he's got me
guy would have
cooked.
done it.
Yeah, he's got me cooked. You're getting drilled, buddy. Actually, I don't know if he just was caught off guard, but like if he did hit him, I think it was McKinney that was up. He would have hit him in the head.
Yeah.
Like
It was a totally wild. Yeah, it was done intentionally. He was like totally discombobulated.
So the funny thing too, actually, we could wrap it up after this, but I also had a complimentary tweet about Mark Vientos. He's getting at least a little bit of a chance. He should probably get a full chance. I said the things I like about him is that he's a good defensive player. When he hits the ball, he hits it hard, and he hustles. He hustles all the time. He's not fast, but he hustles. And then like after that, he had a couple of good plays, and then he had the one play where he was reaching for McNeil's errant throw at first, and he kind of couldn't stop it, and it got past and allowed the first run to come in, and that led IKF on, and IKF stole second, went to third on the overthrow, and then scored on the steal of home. So it was like, poor Vientos. Like I felt like I jinxed the guy, and then I don't think he had a hit after that either. But it's he's an interesting case, and I think that the opportunity, like they've played Kana over there. I think Dawg, as a Met fan, you're 4 games under 500. You're not that far out of it because the NL kind of sucks, right? And this is an opportunity with Alonso out, probably at least until after the All-Star break, and maybe another week or two after that, depending on what happens, or maybe I don't think he's coming back before that, but it's an opportunity where they could really just give Vientos a chance at first base that he's just not going to have. Put him in the lineup, let him play that comfortable position, and then if he establishes his bat, he gives you an option where you could play him at first, you could DH him, you could play him at third, you could then move Beatty to the outfield, like you could move guys around. But the guy if the guy could establish his bat, he could make a real difference. Like Vogelbach's killing him. Like he's just not, he's a streaky player, and even when he's on a good streak, he's just not that effective.
Yeah,
like
that's what's been driving. Yeah,
he's a guy that everybody likes, and he's a guy that's kind of easy to root for, but he's just he doesn't have the upside of a Vientos that could, a guy who could really, he might not change your game in July. And if this season gets lost, he might not change your season this year. But maybe this is the time that you can get him in, and you have the catcher, right? And you have Beatty. And if these guys could get some time now, the best case scenario is they start helping you, and you could turn it around, a la the Phillies last year and the Nationals in 2019, where, they had worse records at this time than the Mets do, and they went on to make a World Series and win a World Series. But the valuable experience that these guys could get, like maybe the stars are misaligning, so they can realign that way.
Yeah, we totally agree. I mean, the Met fans been screaming for the baby Mets, and even started the beginning of the season, like we had none of them up, and we were, clamoring. You finally have gotten each one finally kind of coming up there. But yeah, 100%. I mean, I think it's crazy that you're playing kind of basically opposition. And Connor's fine. I mean, like leave him left though. And like I said, this is like I agree 100%. it's a chance for Vientos to go out and prove it with the bat. And, and between, rotating between him and Alvarez, we need to break at DH, I think is perfectly fine for this year. And I'd be very excited for it. I think most Met fans would be excited for it. So it's kind of frustrating that that winds up not happening. And actually, one other fun one, I sort of say I think the last time we were on, we probably ranted about Tommy Pham or something like that, and like he's been like that. He'd be the only guy like carrying the Mets right now, which is so funny. Like that's sort of the retort of managers, right? Like like every Met fan would have just cut the guy 3 weeks ago. I mean, literally, Met Twitter was all cut Volbeck and cut Pham. That was it. And Canada was barely holding on. Escobar barely holding on. And now he's basically been saving their bacon for the last month or so. So
great career numbers against Cole too, and then it showed in that game he had a big hit there. Yeah. I watch those daily matchups. Sometimes there's a little juice on there.
Little cheddar.
Giancarlo Stanton homer off a Scherzer. That was the numbers were there.
You could see that coming a mile away. 0-2. I'm like, here it goes.
The numbers were there, so we cashed on that one.
Very nice. Well done. Well done by the Riz.
Erin, any so on our rundown, let's just say that we hit the Mets problems, and now we'll go through the Yankees problems, and then we'll get our other reads in after that. What else do the Yankees need to do? Is it just a matter of keeping their heads above water until Judge comes back and until Rodon throws a meaningful pitch?
He doesn't hit his own teammates.
Yeah, that's true too.
I don't really think they're completely lost without Judge. I think it's different when he's there, but I think you have McKinney and Bowers, and they keep everybody afloat along with IKF. But I think I just lost my train of thought. What were you saying?
Well, I think that what
the judgeless Yankees and the hitting finding.
Well, it's a matter of like having these guys filling in those spots, so it gives you an extra left-handed bat. The guys that they've brought in are all very good defensively. IKF is a new outfielder, but he's really shown himself pretty well out there. He's not maybe doing it as gracefully as you'd like, but he does get to the stuff that he needs to get to, and he's making plays. And McKinney and Bowers, like, you really need or hope you only need these guys to get you through a month or two, but they give you defense, they give you a little speed, a little hustle. Bowers has had some timely hitting. McKinney hit 9 homers in the minors before he came up, and he's held his own. In the end, you really, you need Bader and you need Judge, but before they come back, if it's like a huge bonus if you get Mike Tauchman like performances from these other guys, right? It's like the boon, not the Aaron Boone, but the boon of our existence.
I think, and I feel bad saying this, but I think LeMahieu is kind of pulling everybody down because we're supposed to rely on him a lot, and he's in a major slump right now. And then on top of that, I think Volpe changed his batting stance, which helped a lot because he made a difference in this Subway series. And I'm not completely confident in Gleyber 100% of the time either, because he's making silly mistakes on the field. And I think we can say that Volpe is a rookie and he's young, and so he's made silly mistakes. We saw the overthrow to first. It wasn't even an overthrow. It was like totally to the right of Rizzo. But I think when he and Gleyber mess up together, which has happened just a few times, it's not good. And Gleyber should be able to make those easy plays that he's fumbled right in front of him, and then he pretty much cost. Was that the first game? But
he got away with it.
It
was the first game. It looked like it was going to cost him the game, but he ended up getting
exactly. So he's just what worries me, and they just have to keep up on offense, because if they keep hitting, then it's all right, and they judge all the balls correctly.
Hey, rookie, you want to know the good news?
Yeah.
Most rookie mistakes are not even made by rookies. The rookie mistake is one of the biggest myths in sports, and I think in life. Because Gleyber Torres is making rookie mistakes all over the place. The guy's been in the league 7 years.
Right,
Like,
right.
how does it make a rookie mistake? Well, no, because they call it a rookie mistake. That's just what but their carelessness or, recklessness maybe is probably a better way to put it. Lack of concentration, things like that. There are rookies that come in that never make rookie mistakes
Right.
like that, right? Like Brandon Nimmo never makes mistakes like that. He made a mistake like that in the first game.
Yeah.
Now that cost them a
Yeah,
lot,
it did.
right? But Brandon Nimmo never does that, right? He's always attentive. He's always hustling, and he just, his. I did see in an interview. I did a lot of research, and I went back and I saw what his favorite dinosaur was, and it was the T-Rex. Yeah, short armed it. Dog loves it. Dog loves it.
No comment.
All right, Dog. What you need to know, Dog, is with these teams banged up, right? Harrison Bader, Arson Judge. Maybe they need to stop at Gatto Acupuncture Wellness in Glen Rock, New Jersey. Book online at gattoacu.com or call 551-212-3845. Dr. Melissa will take care of you. So outfielders on the Yankees, pitchers on the Yankees, pitchers on the Mets. Did I miss anybody? Go to gattoacupuncture.com. And also players or our viewers or listeners, if you're looking to relocate in the Northern Valley, the Pascack Valley, or anywhere in North Jersey, the Mascolo Group Realtors are the ones to get a hold of. Go to GaryMascolo.com or call 201-615-3665. You're looking to rent, you're looking to own, you're looking to get in, you're looking to get out, whatever it is, they'll take care of you. Gary and Michele are the best, and they have a good track record and one that continues to build, and a lot of great references if you want to check them. And if you don't want to go back and re-listen to this, you don't have to. Go to the description wherever you are, on the Facebook group, on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, wherever you're watching or listening. Just go to the description every time we talk about our advertisers, and you can find all the information you need to there. All right, let's go around baseball. Dog, over the course of the 3 years of this show, we have tertiarily probably talked about the Cardinals as the next team after the Yankees and the Mets. And this is what is going on in St. Louis right now is not the Cardinal way. Dog, are you on mute? Did we lose you?
Sorry, the Diamond Dog was getting a little ticked off earlier, so
Go ahead.
apologize for that.
We love her. She can do no wrong.
So yeah, I mean it is shocking that you're seeing the Cardinals get off to such a slow start. I think we kind of liked some of the moves that they made in the offseason. We felt pretty good coming based off of last year and rolling in that we thought maybe the division got a little bit tougher, and maybe the Cubs got a little bit better, but we thought the Cardinals would kind of hang in there, and just the pitching has really hit the wall on this. And it's funny, I was looking like the struggles of Wainwright and stuff, and I was thinking with like Scherzer and Verlander and stuff, and I'm sorry to digress off on here, but maybe the pitch clock we were talking about, like what an advantage it was gonna be for older pitchers and stuff. Like, you know what? I haven't had a chance to check all the numbers and stuff, but I'm wondering if it's actually hurting the older pitchers more, that they have to throw it a little quicker than they used to be. And I actually sort of speculate. I'd love to sort of see a little bit of a deep dive on that, on looking like the older pitchers and stuff. And again, maybe like a Wainwright and some of the older pitchers that the Cards having. Maybe that's sort of a bolt from the blue that we didn't expect, and it's kind of highlighting in the Mets and also the Cardinals.
You don't get this stuff in other places, rookie.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
There you go.
I mean,
a little nugget for you there, Rizzo.
We're going to talk nuggets a little bit later. Dog, that's a great call out. That's really interesting. I'm also thinking about DeGrom. Maybe the rush. I mean, I didn't really pay too much attention on his past years to think like, is he a fast worker? Is he a slow worker? Is he a human rain delay, or is he a quick pitch guy? But I wonder, maybe if it had something to do with that. What I thought was interesting in the second Yankees Mets game was there was the play where Verlander had to back up third base, and he had to really, really hustle over there because it was on the steal, and IKF slid into second, and he jumps, he pop slid, gets up, runs to third. Verlander's got to really bust it to get over there, and then he's got to, then the clock is on, right? Like once the ball's back, like, and he's got to get to the mound, and he doesn't really have a chance to like catch his breath. And I think David Cohn did bring it up on the broadcast, but actually, was that? No, it couldn't have been that part. Well, did he end up leaving the game after that? I don't know, because he stole home against Brooks Raleigh. So was Verlander out for that? Now I can't remember the sequence. Maybe he had to back up for something else. Maybe it was that because he came in and then he got out of the inning. So maybe it was on the first run. If I conflate that, then just forget it. But I did think I remember him making that point. I don't think I was imagining that. I imagine a lot of other stuff. I mean, maybe we could just add that to it.
You can imagine Diamond Dog right here.
Yeah, she's got. You can't see her with the background with dogs in the doghouse, but we know that the Diamond Dog is there.
Exactly.
She sometimes thinks that she's a lap dog. Erin, do you think Oliver Marmol will last through even the All-Star break for the Cardinals as manager? That is not a franchise that typically likes to part ways quickly with their managers. Mike Schilt was there. He did a great job. For some reason, he butted heads with the new age philosophy and him being an old school guy. And now, I mean, it looks pretty regrettable. I mean, I know they made the playoffs last year with Marmol, but I just they're bad. Like, it's just strange.
Well, yeah, there's obviously a problem if they got to the playoffs and then they're starting off this way. If I was in their organization, I'd say, what happened? What happened in spring training? Why didn't they pick up on something in spring training that went wrong, that they didn't change going into the season? And no, I don't think he's gonna be fired before the All-Star break. I could see them getting rid of him before the next season, because their owner was interviewed and he said he's not rushing to any conclusions or firings at all. So I think if he said that publicly, it's not gonna be very likely that they get rid of him before that. I mean, you have maybe about exactly a month till the All-Star game. So obviously anything could happen, but I don't see them having a major improvement till then. But I think his job is definitely in jeopardy for next season, not so much this season.
All right, so we'll see how it pans out for the Cardinals. The A's have risen from the dead. They were 12-50, at which time I decided to break down their season in a tweet that I retweeted earlier on this day, June 15th. By the way, happy birthday to my brother Frank, and a happy early birthday to my sister Madeline, and to my Aunt Marie, who's hitting a big number coming up, but we're not allowed to say what it is. But this will be like, I don't know, the 90th time she's going to hit it. So, but I'm not at liberty to say which birthday it is. But it's it's a lot, and it's good. We get this position with the A's. They're 12-50. They're on a 38-win pace. They're gonna, they're on that pace to have 24 wins and 100 losses, right? Like, with it be 100 losses with 38 games to go, and like, boom, of course they go on a 7-game winning streak, right? And like, the last couple of wins were against Tampa Bay, which is the best team in baseball. The worst run differential against the best run differential. You would think there's really no contest. And of course, like that, I don't know if they beat them once or twice, but the Rays ended up stopping the winning streak. And now the A's, so I updated the tweet earlier before the show. The A's are now on pace for only 118 losses, Dawg. So the 62 Mets would still be safe. But if the A's played at the 7 out of 8 pace, which is 875 ball, for the remainder of the season, they would end up with 99.5 wins. And I ask you, Dawg, how do you get half a win? You don't, right? You can only end up with 99, right? That's the answer.
That's the way the house works.
Yeah, you can't round up in baseball when you're talking about wins because you never actually get to that threshold. So you say, so if they won 7 out of 8 games for the entire 92 games they have left at the time we're recording this, they would still only get to 99 wins. Think about that. It's not even, it's the middle of June. And they would have to be on the most ridiculous pace ever just to get to 99 wins. And in one of those 7 out of 8s, they'd have to win 8 out of 8 to get to 100. That would be really good if they did, though, right? That would be something.
That'd be awesome.
With that team. Yeah.
That would be remarkable.
Brett Rooker would be the MVP in the American League, probably, if that happened. So now we're gonna sort of pivot to the few things that we have left here, and we're gonna kind of spin them into we're gonna relate the A's to hockey. So the A's had a reverse boycott by their fans on June 14th. 27,000 come to the park. They're seeing the Rays, the A's and the Rays, worst team, best team still. First the chants are sell the team to Fisher, the owner. Then it's, keep the team. And, the deal with Vegas is done, but then it's not done, but then it's done again. Like it's not done until the bags are packed, right, Dawg? I mean, you probably know more about this civic stuff, and it's all about the money, right? It's can they actually get the money? Is it guaranteed? Is it binding, right? Yep. The Howard's Landing project in Oakland, some people contend it was there, other people say it was not there. It was never binding, so it's really not there, right? Whether they agreed to do it or not, they agreed to do it, but it was not a binding agreement, so who gives a shit, right? It's useless.
Yeah, and it's almost always like there's almost always like carve outs and stuff like that too, like getting legal approval, getting town and city approvals and things like that. There's always like sort of carve outs on that. So even when it's a quote unquote done deal, even for like number wise, you have all the terms and conditions that almost always wind up giving it out somewhere along the way.
So what happens to the A's? They've never really been supported that well in terms of their fan base there. They've never been a team that's had great attendance, but they've had, they've made the playoffs a lot. They've been the Moneyball team, but their park is decrepit, right? It's in the middle of kind of a nowhere part of Oakland. So it's not a destination to get there. And then once you're there, you're like, this place is, literally the worst stadium in probably all of the 4 major pro sports. There's soccer stadiums in the MLS that are 100 times better than the Coliseum in Oakland. You lost the Raiders because of that. And listen, if California doesn't want to step up and do the funding to get these teams, and if the owners don't want to make it come out of their pocket and they're being forced to have to stay there for 8 more years in that park before they would rebuild another one, and is it going to be on the same site, and they want to move, and this, I mean, it's so much gobbledygook. But the thing is that kind of strikes me is the A's started out in Philadelphia way before even my time, which I know you probably can't even believe that there was a thing, such a thing existed, that Dawg and I just existed since the beginning of time. Then they moved to Kansas City for a few years, and then they ended up in Oakland. So it's been a transient franchise, even if it hasn't been transient for the last 60-ish years almost. It's not one of these teams that's just been dead set in one location. It's it's not like the Yankees are moving here, right? It's a franchise that has had a history of transiency, at least a little bit. So if they haven't been supported very well, can we expect all of a sudden, like, Dawg, I would see something like, if you could put a 32,000 seat stadium in a decent spot that was a little bit of a destination in Oakland, like you'd keep the team and people probably would support them. I mean, they did it for the Giants. I mean, like, why wouldn't they do it for the A's?
I think they go to Vegas. I don't think that I honestly, I mean, if you're gonna be cold-hearted about it, that's where the money is. You said before, I mean, the fans haven't been out there for it. They've had some success, right? I mean, not, you know, I mean, I'm sure Pittsburgh's attendance is blowing away Oakland. And Oakland's had a lot more chances, a lot more bites of the apple of tasting success than Pittsburgh has had along the way. So it's cool. I mean, I loved the reverse boycott, and it was great to see and everything else like that. But it just, the economics says that you're going to go. And honestly, is San Francisco, the Oakland, San Francisco area, is it really strong enough at this point to support two franchises on there? I don't know. I mean, I think it's tough, right? I mean, and just look at NFL, right? You had a storied franchise in Oakland. Where are they at? So
Exactly.
same season, unfortunately. It's hurtful.
They moved like 4 times though,
Well, sure, yeah.
right?
There may be the opposite case there, but
And then there was a time that they said they were going to move, and Al Davis took $5 million from like Irwindale or something, like put it in his pocket, like, oh yeah, you know what, we're not moving. Move to LA, move back to Oakland, move to Vegas. I want the younger fans' perspective. So this is what Erin brings to the show. Do you care if the A's move like to Vegas? Like, does it make it more enticing for you as a fan who's not a fan of the A's?
I don't care. I think for me, it's more so I'm going to keep calling them Oakland because I just tend to do that. Like sometimes I'll slip up with the Rams and call them St. Louis. That's just me because it's like that's what I grew up with. But with the A's, I don't think the boycott was enough. I think you saw the Raiders who, like you said, had a great fan base. If a major NFL organization is going to pick up and go to a whole nother state, it's huge. It's a huge deal. I thought it was a huge deal for them. I was shocked by the move just because of the huge fan base. And the Raiders had more of a culture than the A's. And if you're just not going to have a great stadium, if you're not going to be in a great location, it's not gonna stick. And I think they're going to Vegas. I don't really care, but I think Vegas could have new opportunities for them to maybe be more of a staple in the MLB.
Speaking of not caring, we don't care if Dawg leaves right now, so we're going to let him. We are going to let him go and
going to work with the scouts, raising the next generation of baseball fans here.
Yeah, you better keep it up.
Erin, great to finally get on the air with you. So
yeah,
fantastic!
It was nice meeting you.
Looking forward to it. And Riz, we will talk again soon.
Very soon.
All right.
He's adios. Let's see. There he goes. And we switch over. That is the Dawg, Jeff Healy at Jeff Healy 8, the number 8. Follow him on Twitter. We got to talk about fmsgraphics.com, a family-owned, family-run business for the last 50 plus years. Go to fmsgraphics.com for all of your printing and promotional needs. And of course, you can't be driving around the North Jersey area with a vehicle that is not clean, spotless, whatever, or at least decent enough looking. So you need to go to Big Ed's Car Wash, 17-16 River Road in Fair Lawn, New Jersey, right on the border of Bergen County and Passaic County. So pretty easily accessible from a lot of destinations in our vast listening area, but like the concentration of you is really around this area, which we know. I mean, you might be in Tennessee or Sacramento or something checking us out. But if you are like many of the locals, Big Ed's Car Wash, clean and green, 118-foot tunnel. Never know, Big Ed might be walking around the neighborhood. We'll wave him in one of these days, and he'll jump on with us. You get to see him. You can find a YouTube video of us as well if you want to see more about Big Ed's car wash. Go in, tell Ed Diamond Diehards sent you. Okay, so wouldn't it be cool to go to like a Yankee Vegas game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of people in hockey have felt that. Maybe not as much in the NFL, since the Raiders had their first season pretty much blotted out attendance-wise by the pandemic, and there's only 8 or so home games a year for NFL teams, so the Raiders really haven't had a chance to host everybody else from around the league. But the Golden Knights have, and it's 6 years later, here they go, winning the Stanley Cup in 5 games over the Florida Panthers. So what lessons do we learn from the Golden Knights? Is it that Vegas is a viable market? Will Vegas now be a viable market for 3 teams? Like, does it work there, or does it only work because of the newness and combination of the fact that the Raiders have actually been decent since they're there, and the Golden Knights have been, let's face it, great. I mean, in 6 years, they might have missed the playoffs once, but I'm not sure. They made the finals in their first year, and they won the Stanley Cup in their 6th year. And you know, they put on a big show before every game. Does that mean that it's a viable market for the A's? Will the A's be supported if and when they make that move to Vegas? Vegas thinks so, but what do you think?
I honestly don't think I mean, I don't know, because I feel like they'll have to try it out first. I think hockey and football are totally different than baseball. Baseball I mean, look why we have a pitch clock to shorten the time of the game, because people felt like younger generations were not wanting to be baseball fans because of how slow it was going. So I don't know, because I feel like Vegas is very fast paced, obviously. It's a party town and you know, bright lights and everything. And I think the fact that hockey is doing so well there, I think is interesting because it's the desert. Maybe, you know, I feel like hockey is a little more popular around here, obviously up in the north and obviously Canada, but in the middle of the desert, I feel like there's not a lot of exposure, at least to kids, to hockey out there. So if they did well, I think that's awesome. And I think that says a lot about a sports team in Vegas, because I questioned the Raiders' moves because I feel like sports athletics is not a huge focus in Vegas, again, because it's Vegas. But the Raiders did fine. And I think the fact that the Knights won, I think it's huge. I think it could be a positive for the A's moving there.
What do you think of the sort of daily commitment that you need from baseball? Now, Vegas has really been driven by the fact that the local fans there, Vegas Golden Knights, I should say, I gotta be specific here, that the fans there, like Vegas born is their hashtag. It's people that live there that are absolutely the fan base that have gone there. Baseball's twice the commitment, right?
Yeah.
It's literally, you know, almost exactly double the home dates. So are you going to get people to go there all the time? Like you know that the stadium that they're going to build is going to be terrific. It's going to have to at least be at minimum a retractable roof, or maybe even just a fully domed stadium, because it's either going to be too hot there. You know, I don't know how they'll do it, but that's what Vegas does, right? They build great places. They knock down pretty good ones to build greater ones. So I don't think that's going to be an issue, but you got to think out things like stadium capacity. I think stadium capacities have rightfully gone down, and that's actually helped baseball. There was that era of the late 60s and the early 70s where they were building these big cookie cutter multi-purpose parks where, you know, you're seating 70,000 or 100,000 potentially, and that just, it makes crappy sight lines. It's like 2-3 games a year. Maybe you're going to get that. Even if you get to a World Series, you might not sell that out. Not a good experience. Camden Yards kind of changed that, took down the attendance, but it's been taken down even further and further and further. Like, I think there's sort of a sweet spot in the low 30,000s now for these parks, where you can get people in there. You can have these rotundas where they walk in that are museum-like. You can make it an experience like they did with Citi Field. You could have these decks and these not just boxes, but like these decks like you have in San Diego. It's terrific. You can go sit down. You have a couple of levels where you can watch the game. It makes it a great experience. And you have plenty of seats for people who just want to come to the game and just watch every single pitch. I could see Vegas doing a great show like that. And again, I think if you took that 33,000 seat stadium and you put it in the right spot in Oakland, I think a lot of people will go.
Yeah.
So it's a viable product is Major League Baseball. NHL hockey but it's not going to work in every single place. NFL football is. If you took Des Moines, Iowa, right, and you said, well, we're going to move the Packers there, or we're going to put an expansion team there, and we're gonna make it a 66,000 seat stadium, guess what's going to sell out? 100%, right?
Look
like,
at the USFL. Look at the XFL. People love football, and they'll go to it.
That's too much for me. I did the USFL the first time. I can't remember. I think I went to one USFL game, the original USFL. I'm like done with the NFL. I'm done with football once the NFL's done. I can't. I see this stuff on like USFL, XFL. I'm like, I'm not. You know what? I don't even know what I'm looking at. Like, I see team names that I'm familiar with, and like, but like the New Jersey Generals are playing the Birmingham Barons in Carolina. Like, why? Oh, this I got. I got nothing for that. All right. We talk about the Golden Knights. We talk about Vegas. Now let's talk about the NBA, where the Denver Nuggets win their first championship. 47 years in the NBA, they'd never won one. A few years in the American Basketball Association, they made, I think, one finals. They lost to the New York Nets and Dr. J. Literally right before the merger. So that city gets a championship. What does that mean to, like, when we usually talk about baseball? We can talk about any sport we want, but I'm going to relate it to that. Last year, the Colorado Avalanche won the Stanley Cup. So now you get this like Avalanche win it in Denver, Nuggets win it in Denver. Are the Broncos going to improve, or is it going to be the Rockies? Maybe the Rockies are going to wake up and surprise us here. Nobody, well, we were, maybe not, you weren't way back then, but we, Dawg and I, but especially me, talked about the Arizona Diamondbacks before the season, a team that like nobody's looking at, like, watch out for this team. And, they've exceeded even my expectations, to be honest. But who's to say that couldn't be the Rockies in a year or two? I mean, they seem to be stockpiling a lot of good players. They have probably more good established players than the Diamondbacks did. There's always going to be the issue of pitching, but could we at some point see a quick resurgence from the Rockies and the Broncos? Like, is it one of these cyclical city things, like with Boston, with the Patriots, and they start winning out of nowhere, where they were, basically a nothing franchise in the NFL and the AFL. Then all of a sudden the Red Sox decide they're going to win. And the Bruins hadn't won in a couple of generations and they win. And, the Celtics continue their tradition and they grab a title there, whatever, what was it, 2008 or 2009. So you get these things and sometimes they happen. Is Denver going to be a centerpiece now? And listen, I think the Rockies are they're third in the pecking order in Denver. The Broncos are first, the Avalanche are second. And then it's probably been between the Rockies and the Nuggets, but now the Nuggets have clearly jumped them, right? At least for the time being. to the Rockies now have a chance to do that. Denver's really a great sports town. They have it's not only regional but also a good base like right there in Denver.
Yeah, I would say the Rockies over the Broncos. I think the Broncos are having too many problems with ownership, and I have absolutely no confidence in Russell Wilson. So I think the Rockies, I mean, they just hosted the All-Star game, what was it, 2 years ago?
No, it was last year because
Last
they
year.
moved it out of Atlanta.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be more in demand from Denver fans for more championships to come to the city, especially because what'd you say, 47 years? Yeah. So listen, it's exciting. It's an exciting time right now in the city, and it's going to be more in demand. I think the Broncos have way too many problems and do not have the chemistry between their players right now. Not to say that they don't have any talent on the team, but I think the Rockies could make more of an impact on their own season themselves. I think if they do, have consistent pitching and, match that on offenses, obviously, I think the Rockies could be the next team. I mean, I don't know, World Series for the next few years, but, playoffs and succeeding. Probably, yeah, I'd say the Rockies, and maybe the Nuggets will get another one in the next couple of years.
Yeah, well, I think the Nuggets are going to be right there for a number of years.
For sure.
It's interesting. There's another angle here too that we were talking about. So if the A's move to Las Vegas, does all of a sudden that click the radar of some of the primetime players that come from Las Vegas now saying like, does Chris Bryant say, oh, you know what? Hey, I like Colorado, but maybe like you guys want to trade me to the A's? And the Rockies were probably like, yeah, we could trade you to the A's. Like, give us a bunch of something and, they can get out from under his contract.
Because you want big stars in big time cities.
Bryce Harper's from Vegas, you know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Could
So
you imagine? if
Bryce
they're both
Harper
on
and
that
Chris
team?
Bryant reunited. But, are the Phillies like actually going to do that? Well, it might give them an out for the later years of that contract.
That's true.
I think Bryce Harper really likes it, actually, and they've had success in it. When you've gotten close and you're the star like that, and you have ownership that's willing to make the moves, and you have a good organizational structure, which they have, and you've salted in a little luck here and there, and you get close and you get a taste of it. Like I feel like that has probably endeared Harper to it. I mean, I feel like he's not going to want to leave there without having won. But when he gets to like his age 34 season and we start seeing the palpable decline, he might still be a good enough player to go play for the Las Vegas A's or whatever. I mean, they probably would just continue to be called the A's, right?
Yeah.
The Athletics. I mean, like, you could be kind of athletic like anywhere, right? I mean, sure. Like, are you not athletic because you're in Las Vegas? No, I feel like you'd still be athletic there.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good thing for baseball players to be athletic.
Yeah.
Although, Bartolo Colon might. Well, he actually was really athletic when you think about it.
They might not look athletic, but they can be. Yeah.
Young Bartolo Colon looked athletic.
Yeah.
And then he looked like he ate Bartolo Colon after, but he did hit that homer. And then he, would always run around the bases holding the bat, which I think was a good way to imitate him. Okay, so I think we covered that. We covered our sponsors. We had the Dawg with us here for most of the first hour, I'd say. Went a little bit past that to cover some of the other stuff around baseball and around sports. Show number 2 in the books for the Rookie from Monmouth. How was it so far?
It's a lot of fun.
Really?
I love it, yeah.
Wow.
It's been good. We laugh, talk sports. There's really nothing better to do than that.
Well, wait till we cry. I don't know if we've cried. We've come close. we've had some good moments,
If
deep moments.
if the Yankees go to the World Series and lose, maybe.
I mean, won't it just be like each of the last 14 years when they didn't win the World Series?
Isn't that terrible? I think about the last time they won the World Series. I was 9. For people watching, 23. That's not okay.
Listen,
It's unacceptable.
well, it's kind of funny because I was in that same span, because when they won the 1978 World Series, I was 9,
Sure. That's crazy.
right?
Yeah,
And then they didn't win again until 96.
yeah.
So maybe you have to wait as long as I did. Wait, can we calculate that? How many years is that? So 96. God, oh, she's going to do it. She's got the calculator out.
So do 96 minus 78.
Yep. I mean, I know the answer is 18.
That's too long.
Yeah.
18 minutes.
So 18 years from 2009 is 2027. So that means they're within, that means Garrett Cole will probably still be on the team when
Cole
the
and
Yankees. Judge, yeah.
all-
Judge will be in like the 3rd year of his contract. Yeah, so the Yankees, here's our time machine. Mark it down. Yankees 2027 World Series champs. Hopefully you don't have to wait that long for the next
Oh.
World Series, but you know, all the Astros maybe will have aged out by then.
Yeah.
They'll start letting the Yankees win. The Astros will probably have Verlander back by then.
Do you think?
Yeah, he'll be like 45, you know.
Yeah.
Or 44, 45. He'll be back there. He'll just keep getting these mercenary contracts. Although, well, he looked pretty good against the Yanks, but he's
Not the same.
at
As
the
he
moment.
was. Yeah.
At the moment.
Yeah.
There was a lot of mojo on the Astros that
Oh,
made
yeah.
him like extra Verlander-ish, I
Yeah.
think. And he hasn't really found that with the Mets yet. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think they all seemed like they were truly friends on and off the field on the Astros. And it's strange for me to agree with them, but it just, you would watch them and it worked. And it was consistent and you never doubted them. And now it's like, you know, he's a little kid that moved schools. You know, so he doesn't really have friends on the Mets, and he has to learn the dynamics and everything, and it's taken a little while.
Well,
He's out of sorts.
he was
probably.
what Scherzer on the Tigers,
That's true.
but I think they hated each other.
To know.
Well, we'll have to get him on the show, and we
Yeah.
could ask,
Get
hey,
us all together.
did you guys like actually hate each other with the Tigers, or is that a bunch of BS? I don't know. That's for another show.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think there's anything else to cover. I think we have done that. Our Facebook Live audience, hopefully you have enjoyed it. Follow the dog. We told you at Jeff Healy 8. That's the number 8. Follow Erin at Erin_Mulligan 23. And you can follow me, Joe Rizzo, at Diamond Diehards. Don't forget to subscribe to the show wherever you get podcasts. And Dawg chimes in the comments. Scherzer absolutely hated Verlander.
That's awesome.
That's
that's
awesome.
I love hearing that, the drama, I guess.
Yeah, it's a long time ago though. So you know,
Yeah, things have changed.
they were kids back then.
Yeah,
Both of them.
they were competing, even though they were on the same team.
Yeah,
Mm.
but we'll have to do a whole deep dive on that. What else? Yeah, subscribe, YouTube. The videos are on Rumble. We are on Facebook group, Facebook page, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, anywhere you get podcasts, check us out. And we appreciate all of the support. If you want to know more about our advertisers, then go to the description of this episode and please support Gatto Acupuncture, the Mascolo Group Realtors, fmsgraphics.com, and Big Ed's Car Wash, with perhaps more to come. So I think we could wrap it up there. That will do it for a Facebook Live on a Thursday night live we ended up doing. We didn't do Thursday night lives that much, I don't think, Dawg and I. We would do a lot of Monday night lives, Friday night lives, but Thursday night live in the books. For the Dawg, Jeff Healy and Erin Mulligan, this is Joe Rizzo. Diamond Diehards is out.